Hey everyone, it's Laura Myers for CMS-Connected. Today I'm talking to my first of 3 interviews with the Kentico Global Sales team to get a full and complete perspective of their global presence. Joining me now is Eric Webb, VP of Sales in North America. Hello Eric, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's kick this off by you giving me an idea of Kentico's footprint in your market.
Sure. Well, I guess I'll talk to you about it from the perspective of North America because, as the VP of Sales over North America, that's where I probably have the best purview. We currently have about 30 employees around Uh, several satellite offices throughout North America, but we're primarily based out of our Bedford, New Hampshire office, which is about an hour north of Boston, Massachusetts. Um, Now, with that, the U.S. office primarily started off as a sales operation, but today we have our technical support, we have training services, consulting services, we have our PR and analyst relations also headed up out of that office, where still the mainstay of our development of our technology is still taken out of Brno, Czech Republic. Now, if I look at it from the perspective of our customer footprint, probably 65% of our global revenue is represented out of the US market. And so it's easily our strongest customer base. And though we intentionally target we'll say the mid-market as our customer base, we also see a large number of enterprise, Fortune, and global customers also selecting Kentico as a platform or as the standard platform for their global deployment of a content management solution. So companies like Bechtel, Ingram Micro, JB Hunt, Land O'Lakes, PPG, Rexnord, again, to name just a handful. And again, those are typically supported. We have a very partner-centric model. So we have about 387 solution partners, Kentico certified solution partners across the market today, and that are also leveraging Kentico as a standard platform for their deployments in engagements with their clients. And again, a lot of this information you can see on our website. And again, we are very transparent. We like to promote, highlight almost everything about Kentico and make it visible to our customers and our partners. So if you go onto our website, you'll see we have over 4,000 client sites referenced out there. You can sort by vertical, by industry, by project type, and really get a sense of a who's who of Kentico customers and also how and where they're finding success on our technology.
And speaking of customers, who are some of the leading customers in your territory? I know you mentioned a few just now, but what are they doing with the software? Is there one main use, or are there variations in how it's utilized?
So yeah, I actually, as you mentioned, I just referenced a handful of customers that are, we'll say, more notable clients. But if you look at the majority of the conversations we have with our customers and our prospective customers, they are looking to Kentico as a best of, let's say, a best of breed or best in value, maybe a better way to approach it, best in value content management and digital experience platform. Kentico allows these organizations to centralize their management of multiple web properties, multiple channels under one roof. So what that allows them to do is basically repurpose content and share and I guess create a common user experience across all these different channels from a technology that simplifies the marketer's role in that. And we might get into a little bit more of that later in our conversation in how we deliver our solution to a target to the marketer specifically and empower the marketer versus making it a very developer heavy solution. But I think that's where we're finding the greatest success is approaching the customers in a best of value manner and enabling the marketers.
That really reflects a statistic I saw recently, actually, explaining how CMOs have replaced CTOs as the ones kind of leading the charge on tech spend within organizations. So your approach seems to definitely be riding that shift. Now, in terms of the challenges that are being faced in your geography, what are some of the problems you find businesses are typically dealing with?
I guess I don't know that there are any unique or fundamentally different business challenges in North America versus, say, other areas in the world like EMEA or APAC. But organizations are, as we see it, continually being forced to I guess, exceed beyond their competition and be able to dial in a more targeted personal experience for all of their customers and all their target audience. But they're being asked to do so with less and less resources and less budget. So I think that's the biggest challenge that we're seeing, is that it's that, I guess, that the duplicity or the dichotomy of what is being expected on the end customer side as far as an experience, that personal touch, and the resources that are available by an organization to actually deliver on that. And it's that constant struggle back and forth. And so what we're seeing is that we're often getting into conversations with clients who have heavily invested in complex technologies, and we'll call them best of breed solutions. But at the end of the day, they're actually not getting a return on the investment. They're not getting what they need out of these best of breed investments. And it often comes down to a couple of talking points that we have with these clients. Initially, right out of the gates, before you even start talking about the technology or which solutions to use, first you need to understand, what are the actual requirements? What do you need to do? What do you need to deliver? And what level of complexity does that require? And the second requirement that we target or we focus on is, what's your budget? How much can you spend, not just on the technology, but also in implementing it and tying it into all the other systems and solutions that you're using within your organization? And arguably, probably the most critical piece, what are the resources that you have in-house that can actually care and feed for this system or this machine that you put in place? Now, if the response to any of those questions is in conflict with using a best of breed solution, well, guess what? Don't use a best of breed solution. Don't spend the money, the capital, in a technology that, one, you don't have the budget for, your requirements don't support the use of, and you don't have the resource, the team, to be able to leverage it in an effective way to actually get a return on your investment. And so very frequently we're getting in conversations with, and again, just to call out a particular one that we hear time and time again, companies that are using things like Marketo. They're spending $25,000, $30,000 a year, and they're using it like a MailChimp, because they're just using it for email communications to an audience and not really doing a lot of personalization with it. But they invested in it, so they now feel obligated to use it, but they're not able to leverage it in a way that's actually meaningful. And so far too often we're seeing organizations that are enticed and say they buy in on the idea of this, the great and wonderful things that can be done with these more complex, these advanced technologies, and then they're left wanting. They're left underwhelmed with what they can actually do with it. And that's where Kentico really finds a great home, is that, I guess I mentioned earlier, with our technology, we empower the marketer. The way we develop our solution, it's with the marketer in mind. So it doesn't require a lot of development, a lot of it more technical intervention to actually put together the personalized communication, the personalized touch points, the persona-driven engagement. And so marketers can actually take full control and ownership of the campaigns that they want to run and the touch points that they feel will be meaningful in order to drive the types of conversions that they're expected to deliver. So I think that's probably the biggest challenge that we're dealing with today in organizations who've taken a misstep down the path of engagement technology and are now dialing it back to a technology that better fits their requirements.
That actually leads into my next question quite well, about the digital marketing and customer experience space and how it's become so crowded in recent years. Where do you think Kentico fits in that space, and where do you think it stands out?
Great question. So I think I probably parrot a lot of what I just illustrated, but I think one of the fundamental ways that we try to differentiate from the market is just in our general approach to the market. So I made a comment earlier about kind of our transparency and honesty, and I think that is the underpinning of our culture in Kentico, is this idea of transparency and honesty. And too frequent within this market space, vendors tend to shield and hide a lot of the information on pricing, on licensing, on their customers' experiences, on being able to trial and demo and get the type of support and resources to put together a proper proof of concept. And so organizations are being forced to buy almost sight unseen a technology that they are being told will fit their requirements, but may in a sense not actually meet their requirements. So I think that's a differentiator just in our approach and how we engage with customers right out of the gate, because our interest primarily is the customer's success, because without customers succeeding, you're not going to get a good name in the market. And so we are vested in the idea of customers succeeding in the technology that they're buying. And in order to make a selection, an educated selection on the right solution, you need to have all the information in hand. And so I think that is a fundamental difference that we bring to the market, just as a vendor culture. But if I look about it from a perspective of the actual platform and technology standpoint, I would also, reiterate some of the points that I made a moment ago, in the fact that though Kentico is a very robust platform, though we have a lot of capabilities to accommodate very complex scenarios and very complex requirements, the solution has been built with a business user in mind, with the idea of extending and integrating with other technologies in mind. So marketers can not only accomplish what they need to do without engaging with other technical resources or third parties or assets within the organization, but when necessary, they can extend our technology and hook into other technologies as needed. Now, the other thing, I think, the last point I'll make on this idea of how Kentico is differentiating to the market is our latest innovation in offerings to the market. Right now, we are on the precipice of, releasing our Kentico Cloud solution. So Kentico Cloud is, it's a visionary solution. Effectively, it's a headless content management platform or technology. So it's SaaS-based, fully software as a service. It's fully hosted in the cloud, and it's an API-first solution, which basically means a client can manage and create their content in a structured manner, but they have the ability to deliver that content anywhere, regardless of regardless of the technology framework, regardless of the channel. So if they want to create, websites, that's fine. If they want to create and support web applications, if they want to, support office displays or social channels, really the use case is limitless, but it allows them to truly separate the core of a content management solution to where it's being delivered. And so I mentioned the separation in the technology stack. It doesn't matter whether they're founded in .NET, PHP, JavaScript, or other framework. The Kentico Cloud offering is going to allow them a true ability to deliver content, manage content, and deliver content in an omni-channel manner. And so it really is going to open up our market space to accommodate customers who are not only on Microsoft-centric technologies, but all other technologies as well. So it's really kind of a turning point for Kentico and where we see the future of Kentico going within the next 3 to 5 years as well.
I always love a great glimpse into the future. Now, another differentiator for Kentico is the highly valued partner channel. What can you tell me about the many partners in your territory?
Very true. So since inception, Kentico has been very focused on our partner community. And I made a reference earlier that we have 387 certified solution partners in North America. And that's obviously a component of the over 1,000 solution partners we have worldwide. Since the beginning, we have placed a very heavy weight on not only developing that channel, but also in supporting and cultivating that channel. So it isn't a quantities game, it's actually a qualities game. So throughout our maturation of our partner network, we have consistently identified ways that we can not only bring partners on, so the on board, but the enablement of our partners by offering training, by offering consulting, by offering getting started or project launch engagements. that allow a partner to truly take advantage of the best practices of Kentico deployments and leverage them within every one of their engagements. Now, as I think, sorry about that, as I think about the differentiation of where we look at a solution partner, there are different types of entities that make up our solution partner network, and you specifically referenced your digital, digital marketing partners. So we saw within the last 5 years a transition from what we would construe as our development agencies to more of a digital marketing agency. And obviously it's by virtue of the technology that's available today. But if we go dial it back to 2010, the mainstay of our technology partner, our solution partner network, was your development shops, organizations who would strictly create websites or integrate the websites into back-end technologies and other systems within an organization. And as the concepts of digital experience and online marketing started to take shape, we saw funding with the resources and the services that these digital agencies were providing. And now we're seeing a lot more of them developing and creating, well, departments that focus specifically on experience, on marketing, on communication, on those, we'll say the phases within a customer journey to ensure that customers or clients are providing meaningful touch points throughout those customer journeys, regardless of what the end result conversion is for the project or the site at hand. Now in our community, you still see some of those development agencies, but we are seeing a much greater concentration of partners who are putting a heavier focus and heavier resources towards that digital experience and the online marketing. And where a digital partner, a development agency doesn't have those internal resources, we're seeing within our community a much greater propensity for identifying those experts in digital marketing and establishing partnerships and relationships where they can have that outlet and bring in resources that can fully satisfy a client's requirements in addition to just the development work that's necessary. So it's kind of an interesting time. It's been I'd say a 5-year transition, but we're seeing a much greater emphasis placed on the whole digital experience rather than just development.
It's interesting you're seeing that, but it does make perfect sense. With design and experience holding so much more weight over time, you're going to see the digital agency evolve with it. And I love that you're even seeing partnerships that are created to get the job done that may not have occurred before. Well, that's a great way to end our interview, as you've addressed all the questions I had for you. Thank you so much for your thoughtful answers.
My pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to come on and have a conversation with you. And like I said, if you have any questions or if anyone has any questions, they can reach out to me directly, certainly.
Absolutely. That was Eric Webb, VP of Sales for Kentico in North America, discussing their presence in his region, how their platform is evolving with the needs of the market, and the ways in which their partner community is keeping up with the demands of implementation. For the differing sales perspectives, make sure to watch all my interviews, the other two with Bart Omlo and Jasek, to gain the entire global Kentico perspective.